n.o.w.h.e.r.e. Here is a crap comic called Superboy #2 from the New 52. This is rubbish. Most people, they seem to forget how lousy the New 52 was. They remember the highs and they remember the lows, but nobody remembers the other stuff considered average, or the stuff that isn't considered at all because it's just bad, but not outrageously so, like New 52 Superboy. I am not convinced anyone even read this book after the first 5 or 6 issues. I have never seen anyone ever praise this book or say that they liked it. Normally, you can always find one person who speaks up in favour of something and is like,
"Actually, I quite like Jeff Loeb's run on Hulk. It got me into buying comic books full time."
Well, I have never encountered a single person expressing anything but indifference at best to this book. The way I would describe what they did to Superboy is they gave him the ultimated Spider-Man approach. They took a character with quite a lot of history and quite a lot of scope, and they limited him down to a decompressed version of his origin story. Now, Superboy's comic, it entirely revolves around his origin and the secret government lab that created him, and how they are evil and they treat him like a lab rat. Stuff we have seen 1,000 times before and 1,000 times since. Stuff that was once a minimal presence in Superboy's book. It is now 100% of his character and his series. The whole thing is all about them and their treatment of Superboy, and them tricking Superboy into thinking that they are the good guys. In the past, the secret lab, it was a fulcrum for fun, high-concept adventures, and we had a small roster of supporting characters there. But in this, it is just a boring, evil government lab, lying and gaslighting the subject. The draw to this series, I imagine they would say, it is that you want to see Superboy get out from under their thumb. You want to see Superboy overthrow his oppressors and rebel against them. But they set both Superboy and the evil lab up so poorly that nobody cared enough to stick around to see how poorly they would have eventually handled that. Superboy's character is the biggest hit to this series. He is now not a fun, rebellious teenager. Instead, he is that one god complex kid you see in most anime. He's just one of them existential anime characters. Like, no, he's like the Americanized versions of them. He is like the butchered version from the dub of an existential anime character. Actually, you know what? New 52 Superboy, it is just ripping off the first 10 minutes of the Pokemon movie. I actually fully believe that is what they were ripping off here. That is the exact thing I think they would rip off. A children's film from 10 years earlier. That is the sort of thing they would rip off because they think they can get away with it, but they are so out of touch with their audience, especially for the New 52, that they miss that the people most likely to buy these comics fucking saw that film at the cinema. Superboy is no longer charming or entertaining to read about. Now he is just a whiny... He's a completely different character. There is so little of Superboy in this. He is just Mewtwo from the Pokemon film, but as a teenager. As a big fan of 90s Superboy, I could not recommend this book any less. The only reason that I have this is because I ordered Superboy number 2 from 2010 and they sent this rubbish by mistake. Before, I mentioned Superboy's supporting cast from the old series, and since this new version of Superboy is so unappealing and annoying, maybe the supporting cast could pick up the slack. Well, now the supporting characters are either blank slates in need of any personality in the background of a laboratory, or they are random unrelated people like Deathstroke's daughter. This character has n.o.w.h.e.r.e with Superboy. Why is she like a ridiculously prominent character in this New 52 series? She is like the second main character in this book. And yes, they're dating a whole relationship between the two. They flirt around. It's like they offered Scott Lobdell, the writer of this, they offered him a Superboy series, and he turned it down because he didn't like Superboy. So then, a few days later, they came back and they offered him a Superboy series again, but this time with another character that he actually likes attached to it. And with the New 52, everyone, they were so obsessed with Scott Lobdell making Star Fox into a cum bucket, they weren't pointing out what a terrible job he was doing with Superboy, or what a terrible disservice he had done to Superboy by making Superboy's book revolve entirely around a single minor aspect of the pre-existing character, and having this evil government agency dominate anything to do with Superboy. Now, Superboy and Deathstroke's daughter, they are agents of this shady government project. And fuck, even his costume. They redesigned his costume and they amazingly managed to find something worse than the t-shirt and jeans. There really is nothing good about New 52 Superboy. You've got to remember, after the New 52, Superboy, he was replaced for a long time by Superman's son. That is how much the New 52 had completely undermined and devalued Superboy as a character or a prospect. And didn't get your hopes up here. This isn't Tiger Shark, Superboy's hard bad guy. No, it's just some monster men. There's two of them. They fight them. Well, I say they fight them. Superboy gets his arse kicked so that it's up to the other character to save his bacon. This is total shite. When I got this and I realised they sent the wrong comic, I was actually properly annoyed. Sometimes it's nice to get a comic that you weren't expecting or you didn't really want, because it can open your eyes to something new, or it can just be something that is interesting to look at and review. But this is, when I got this, I already knew it was shit. If I didn't read this one, I certainly read issues around it when they came out. I like Superboy. I ate this. And the Superboy #2 I actually ordered has Sexy Ivy in it. So this comic even offended my penis. I wasn't planning this, but this is crap. It deserves this. There isn't any redeeming feature in there. It squandered Superboy. It decided to approach Superboy with the most boring and repetitive ideas possible. It remade Superboy as an angsty, "What is my purpose?" character. It had an ugly design. It was just... I know Michael Bryan Benson had nothing to do with this, but it was the most Michael Bryan Benson Superboy comic possible. And Michael Bryan Benson has actually wrote this character, and even that was less Michael Bryan Benson than Scott Lobdell's Ultimate Superboy era was. I do not recommend this. Go and read 90s Superboy if you want Superboy comics. Go and read 90s Excellent Men if you want Scott Lobdell comics. They are not shit, and they are worth the 7 thumbs up that I am forced to give this comic.